everyone. कैसे हो आप सब? So, Adam, we are very excited to have you in India.
I'm excited to be here.
And I am a little extra excited today because I've got you something from home.
Okay.
So guys, don't mind me switching between Hindi and English,
Go
okay?
for it.
तो मैं ना मेरे घर से पूरन पोली लेके आई हूँ Adam के लिए. So I've got you a little something that's been made in my home. And I know that you've been eating at fancy places and all of that, and that you've been trying Indian food. But I want you to try this Maharashtrian dessert, which is called Puran Poli, and it is made in my home.
Puran puli?
And this, just to show you that this is how we do it.
Okay.
And okay.
We'll put it here. What am I in for here?
Okay. There we go.
Oh, wow.
Okay, it's still hot from home, and that is the plus point of a dabba, a hot case, right?
Yeah.
So dabba culture in India is also a very big deal, where in hot cases we get our food when we're working and all of that.
Yeah.
So I've come with my dabba here today, and Adam, please, I would love it if you would
Use
give
your
it a try.
hands?
Please use your hands if you would like to. That's the way that we do it. And that's the fun in it.
So this is a dessert.
This is a dessert.
You just bite.
You just bite.
It's really, really good.
It's
comforting.
I'm so happy to know that. So I'm so happy you're having this because Puran Poli is also one of my favorite foods that I have grown up eating. And yesterday was Maharashtra Day. So I thought let's belated celebrate Maharashtra Day as well. So I'm so glad you had it.
Thank you.
And yes, this was just a little something that I wanted to do for you. And of course, we have to continue with our chat.
Oh, yeah. Let's sit
So
down.
you can have the rest of it later.
I'll eat it all.
I want to tell you the real reason we've called you here. The real reason that we've called you here is, Adam, I've sent some DMs to my best friend. Can you help me delete it from her profile? Is there any way? Please.
I will poke around. I don't know. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, fine. You will definitely consider helping me, right?
I will definitely consider helping you.
Okay, I'm really happy to know that because there are some DMs that I have sent to my best friend, and now that I have an opportunity with the CEO of Instagram, I'm not going to let that go. So great. All right then. That is very comforting. So we can go for it then.
Well, let's start by letting me ask you a question here, because I think there's probably more people here to see you than to see me, which is kind of fun. How's everybody doing, by the way? Everybody okay? Like, I see a lot of phones up. I see more people filling in the back. Wow, look at this. What a crowd. Okay, I thought maybe we would start with talking a little bit about India, where we're seeing an immense amount of creativity. And just given that India is headed towards becoming a global powerhouse, I think, for creativity. For us, it's the largest country in the world for Instagram at this point, and for content creation. And you yourself being one of the most followed public figures, I think over 90 million followers at this point. Where do you think the future is headed for content creation?
So, content creation, I feel, is such a new word that has been introduced probably in the last decade or so. But content creation, what is it largely? It's pretty much storytelling, right? And what better country than India to tell a story? I feel like we are so rich with the storytelling that we've grown up learning about in our households. And now with Instagram, with the way that content creation is growing in India, with having a platform like Instagram where it's democratized, where people can come out and really share their stories. I don't think that there is a better time than right now for India, and with the way that we're growing, with the way that technology is growing as well, it's very, very promising. So I feel like we are already in an amazing place. And you see people creating content. You see chaiwalas creating content, right, guys? You're seeing people creating content in their bedrooms. You're seeing that you don't need those large setups, studio setups. You can have one person who's doing the shooting, the editing, the conceptualizing, and all of that. So I think that it is such an incredible time right now in India for content creators. And I only think it's going to get better from here.
I love that.
And yeah, I think that for me to be a part of this time is very, very exciting as well. And I want to ask you that in India, we are making data affordable. A lot of people now can afford data. And we brought about an internet re-revolution, if I may call it that. And its biggest impact, I believe, has been on the usage of social media. What do you think? How does Instagram see this impact, and where do you see India as an opportunity or market in the next 10 years?
So this wasn't true when I first started at Meta. I've been working at Facebook, which was called Facebook and now called Meta, for almost 17 years. But when I was working on the Facebook app, data here was expensive and networks here were slow. And that has changed dramatically over the last 5 or 7, maybe 8 years, both in terms of reliability, but most importantly in terms of cost. And as the cost of data has gone down, we've seen an immense amount of growth in how much time people spend online. But more than anything, we've seen growth specifically in video. For us, short-form video, for others, short-form and long-form video. And there just seems to be this insatiable demand for entertaining, immersive, sound-on, sound-forward musical video. And so it has really driven this dramatic shift in what Instagram even is. We started as a feed of square photos, but now most of what people do is they message each other and they share and they watch videos. So it's very different than where we started. But at this time, actually, most of the time spent in Instagram is watching video, and that's even more true here in India. So what's been kind of interesting to see is, as Instagram in India has changed really quickly, it's sort of served as a signal for how Instagram was also changed in the rest of the world. So in some ways, India has been leading on that front. And I think that started with the cost of data going down and the speed of internet connections going up so quickly.
And as observed from Instagram data, can you share some insights on what India is doing right and that other countries and markets can learn and implement, and India itself can do more of?
It's a hard question to answer because I think a lot of things have been going really well for Instagram and for all the creative people on Instagram here in India. We see much higher amount of sharing, amount of time spent per person, amount of engagement and creativity relative to the rest of the world. So I don't know that there's anything that I would say India isn't any big opportunities for India to do anything differently. In terms of the rest of the world, I think there's a couple things that come to mind. One, India is an amazing group of diverse cultures and diverse languages, and you see that across verticals. You see that in music, you see that in Bollywood, you see that across the board. And so I do think there's probably more room for other countries to learn from things like, in Bollywood, how you see movies translated into multiple languages. The last speakers up here were talking about accessibility, which is related in terms of the ability to translate subtitles, audio, lip syncing, all of these new things. And I think more countries would benefit from thinking about how they can create content that can reach across not only linguistic barriers, but also cultural barriers. And I think you see that happen here in India, at least across states, across languages, and I think that's really inspiring. I think I got you next, though. Is that all right?
Yes, you've got me next. That's right.
Okay. So actually, we were talking about this before backstage, also talking about your brand and your jewelry. But one thing that I think is a good thing to ask you about is why is authenticity so important on Instagram? And how do you ensure that your content feels relatable, feels accessible? Things like your dogs, which I love, by the way.
Thank you so much. So I have to be very honest with you, Adam. I think that authenticity isn't just important. I think it's the only way. I think everybody here, I'm presuming all of us are on social media. I think all of us can spot when someone is not being authentic. They say the camera also doesn't lie, right? And if you're going to put yourself out there, people are going to see if you're faking it. So I believe that authenticity is the way. And I feel like the audiences, people who are watching your content, they will connect with you more if you are authentic, if you are showing all facets of who you are as a person. And it doesn't have to always be strategic. It can come from your heart. It should come from your heart. It should be who you are. And I think that the reason why people also admire that is because they feel, hey, I have that same problem, or I dress like that, or I talk like that. And I think that when you are authentic, you automatically become relatable. So I really feel like authenticity is something which is the way to be. And it's also, I have to say, lesser exhausting. Because when you're inauthentic, right, you have to really think of someone who you're not. And then you're putting in a lot more effort, and then you're doing it, I personally feel like then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. The whole reason, I think that a few years ago when Instagram even came about, right, why did it come about? It came about so that people could put pictures of or share moments of their lives with their friends, with their family, etc. And I think that that's what people really want to see as well.
Yeah, I think you do an amazing job of that. I think
Thank you.
in general, for people to get a little window into your world is just exciting to see.
I mean, I'm having a great time doing that. And what I think you could shed light on, Adam, is that is it true that reels work better than statics? Does Instagram choose to push one type of content more than the other, or is the platform itself unbiased?
So what we're trying to do always is help people connect with content that they're interested in. Because if we do that well, then they'll be happy, the people who are creating that content will be happy, and our business will do better as well. And so we don't try and boost one type of content or suppress another. But in general, we do see patterns. In general, not for everybody, but in general, video is more engaging than static photos. And so on average, it gets more likes, it gets more sends, it gets more watch time, and therefore it will do better in ranking and just with reach. But that's not true for all creators. Some creators have great success posting just still photos or static book Instagram is a whole world, poetry Instagram is a whole world. But yes, on average, Reels get more reach, but that is not necessarily true for every creator because we are always trying to figure out who's interested in your content, and for you, maybe your photos are more compelling than your video, but for me, maybe it's the other way around.
I mean, I feel like even with me, I feel whether it's a reel or a photograph, I can't really pinpoint personally for myself what, is going to work or what isn't.
It might be based on the specific thing. Maybe a cute video of your dog doing a trick is going to be better than a photo, but a photo of you, dressed up for a movie would do better than the video. So it depends. How do you think public figures can build, because we're talking about authenticity, but part of I think what happens here also is you build a community of people who are invested in you and your success. So how do public figures build a strong community on Instagram, and what has worked for you? Because I think you've done that.
I feel like whichever public figures who I admire and whoever I follow, and maybe actually you can also shed light on this, say the top accounts that are followed, right? I honestly can't spot a strategy there. And I feel like everyone's account is so uniquely different, and so they really do seem very authentic, when I'm watching their content. So I feel like what has actually worked for them is probably their authentic voice as well, if I may say so. And actually, I think you can shed more light on that aspect as well. And for me, I've actually very honestly not had any strategy. I think that the only strategy that I have had is, which I have a lot of fun using, by the way, are trending audios. I love using trending audios, and I also really love using trending captions. And we actually, Adam, we have a really strong meme culture in India.
I've started to see this.
Okay, and okay, guys, who loves memes? Exactly.
We got most everybody.
So I have to tell you, I consider myself to be a meme addict, okay? And I'm constantly sending my friends, my family, we share on our WhatsApp as well. Oh, look at this meme, it's so funny. And then maybe just take some inspiration from that and spin a caption around it or something. So for me, I think that if one has to call it a strategy, it's basically just having fun with stuff like that.
I mean, the hope is that for people who are using Instagram for work, it'll, to augment or amplify what they do, it is to a certain degree work, but our hope is that it's also fun, that it gives joy, that it doesn't feel like a chore. So
exactly.
I'm happy to hear that.
Absolutely. In fact, we have our meme creators, Adam, have followers equivalent to populations of some countries. And that side of creativity is, it has a lot of fans in our country, and people are consuming that and really enjoying themselves with that. And so it's a lot of fun. And so how do you balance, say, sharing personal content with promoting your work or business on Instagram? And I imagine anytime that you post something, right, most people must be expecting an Insta insight or a new feature or trivia or something. Does it confuse you on what to post?
It can. I think if you're going to use Instagram, not just to connect with your friends, but as a creator, I think the important thing is to be very clear with yourself about what the goal is. Because yes, you want to reach a lot of people, but to what end? Are you trying to explain something? Are you trying to evangelize a cause, build a community, sell a product, get a brand deal? And then you have to come up with content that aligns with that goal, but also that resonates with an audience. And so my goal is to just explain, what is Instagram doing? Why are we doing it? How are we thinking about it? And so the content I do tries to align with that goal, but also be engaging. And what works this year is not the same as what worked last year, and that's okay. I've actually found, part of your question was about personal content. When I started, people weren't that interested in personal content. I did a little bit because I wanted people to know that people actually work at Instagram. It's not just a technology, there's humans behind to humanize us a little bit. But that content didn't do very well. But as my following has grown, not nearly as big as yours, by the way, but as it's grown, now people seem to be more interested. And so I share a little bit, but I try to be balanced. But most of what I do is explain new features, highlight things that you might find useful, and make sure you, as creators, but also the broader community, have some insight into how we're thinking about what we do.
I think it's very, very helpful that, you share that information. I even really like the way you share it. You share it in a relatable manner.
Yeah, we talked about authenticity before, but what I do is my team and I were like, okay, this week we're going to talk about the close friends feature or something like that. And then we just put the camera on and I just talk. And then I say, any feedback? And they always say, yep. They tell me everything I did wrong, and then I just do one or two more, and then we post it, even if there's mistakes. Because if you process it too much, if you polish it too much, it won't feel real, and it won't resonate or do as well.
Yeah, I have a similar anecdote where I'm shooting content in my bedroom, Only difference is that my mom is banging on the door and saying, when are you going to be done? And I'm like, I'm shooting a video for my jewelry brand. I'm almost done, you know.
Yeah.
So that's usually the kind of
But that's
feedback I'm
great.
dealing with at home. Yeah.
For me, my kids will invade. We are actually, unfortunately, out of time. I'm just getting a bunch of frantic hands from the side. But before we go, I'm asking you, but I'm also asking all of you, can we take a selfie real quick? Is that okay?
Of course. Absolutely.
All right, you might,
We've already run out of time. See,
I know, you should see how nervous people look on the side
Oh,
of the stage.
gosh. Oh, damn it.
All right, we'll do it real quick. I want energy. I want sort of Indian expressivity and pride. All right, here we go.